Good morning and welcome to today's New York City Council hearing for the Committee on Finance. Please silence all cell phone and electronic devices and do not approach the dais. Chair, we're ready to begin.
Okay, good morning and welcome to today's Finance Committee meeting. I'm Councilmember Brown and I have the privilege of chairing the Committee on Finance. We've been joined this morning by Councilmembers Salam, Carr, Powers, Osei, Farias, Brewer, Ayala, Brooks Powers, Hanks, Lewis, and Williams. On Zoom, we've been joined by Sanchez, Stevens, and Moya. Today, our committee will be voting on 4 items, 3 property tax exemption resolutions, and a transparency resolution. The first property tax exemption resolution is for a new partial 40-year Article 11 exemption for preservation of 1 rental building in Councilmember Dinowitz's district. As part of the exemption, the building will enter a regulatory agreement restricting rents, setting aside 15% of units for homeless tenants, and completing identified critical and short-term capital work. Upon closing of the Article 11 exemption, HPD requires that the building work to clear all housing maintenance code violations by designing a remediation plan and entering into a housing repair agreement with the department. The second and third property tax exemptions are short-term retroactive Article 5 exemption and a new partial 40-year Article 11 exemption, respectively, for preservation of 2 rental buildings in Councilmember Salam's district. The project was under an Article 5 exemption, which expired in May of 22. HPD is requesting a new Article 11 to take effect once the project transfers to an eligible HDFC, and for an Article 5 to run retroactive from the 22 expiration to the date of the transfer to bridge the gap. As part of the exemptions, the buildings will enter a regulatory agreement setting aside 30% of units for homeless tenants, complete capital repairs, and install aging-in-place improvements. During the Article 5 and the Article 11, income limits will be capped at 50% of AMI. Finally, the transparency resolution sets forth the new designation and changes in the designation of certain organizations receiving local youth anti-poverty and speakers initiative discretionary funding and funding pursuant to certain initiatives in the budget. As with all transparency resolutions, council members will have to sign a disclosure form indicating whether or not a conflict exists with any of the groups on the attached list. If any member has a potential conflict of interest with any of the organizations listed, they have the opportunity to disclose the conflict at the time of their vote. As a reminder, please disclose any conflicts you may have with proposed subcontractors used by organizations sponsored by discretionary funding. These disclosures must be made before the subcontractor can be approved. Disclosure forms must be completed and submitted prior to the vote on transparency resolution. May be emailed to Everton Smith, who is also present in the building today, to answer your questions. Are there any comments or questions from my colleagues on today's items? Seeing none, I want to congratulate my committee counsel, my ride or die right-hand man, Mike Toomey. This is his final stated. He's moving on. He's been with us through every budget, a lot of great budget fights, a lot of great budget victories, and I wish him well in his new endeavors. Congrats, Mike. We're gonna miss him. All right, Billy Martin, call the roll.
Good morning, William Martin, Committee Clerk. Roll call vote, Committee on Finance. All items are coupled. Chair Brennan.
I vote aye.
Ayala.
Aye.
Moya.
I vote aye.
Thank you, Councilmember Moya. Sanchez.
I'd like to disclose on the record that I have a sibling who works at CUNY DMCC, and Mike, we're gonna miss you.
Thank you. One moment. Powers.
I vote aye.
Lewis.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Brooks Powers.
I vote aye.
Brewer.
Yes.
Farias.
I vote aye.
Hanks.
I vote aye.
Osei.
I vote aye.
Stevens.
I would like to disclose for the record that my daughter attends CUNY and she works for Presbyterian Hospital. And congratulations, Big Mike, and I vote aye on all.
Thank you, Councilmember Stevens. Williams.
I vote aye, and sad to see you leave, Mike. I'll miss you, but I'm excited for all of your wonderful opportunities.
Councilmember Hudson.
Aye.
Thank you. 1. Salam.
I vote aye.
Carr.
With congratulations and thanks to Mike, I vote aye on all.
With a vote of 16 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and no abstentions, all items have been adopted by the committee.
All right. It's a shutout from Mike's Big Stand. Thank you, everybody. This hearing's adjourned.